A very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this Sunday's edition of Primetime News coming to you live from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Mudannaik and let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Three-member leadership council to govern Iran following the assassination of Ayatollah Al-Khamenei. Ready for retaliation, declares the Iranian president. Russia and North Korea condemn the assassination of the Iranian leader. Foreign ministers hold emergency talks regarding the security of Gulf nations. Special set of instructions issued for Sri Lankans residing in the Middle East. Visa period for foreigners stranded in Sri Lanka extended by 2 weeks following the closure of regional airspaces. No disruption to the fuel supply. Do not wait in queues. Ministry of Energy urges the general public.
And the stories in detail now. Israel and the United States are currently launching yet another series of strikes against Iran. Now, meanwhile, Iran claims that its air force has bombed American bases in the surrounding region. Iran further stated that their air power can easily target the relevant bases following the death of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who reigned as the most powerful man in the Middle East for decades, in a joint Israeli and American airstrike. Shalan Benedict brings you this detailed report on the unfolding situation. Shalan, over to you.
Thank you very much, Arundhati. Now, of course, the situation in the Middle East is developing as we speak. Tensions are high and there are certain factions in the Middle East who are trying to bring this situation to a normalcy, and we will continue to keep you up to date as and when things unfold in the Middle East, as we have done throughout the course of the day since the beginning of the attack on Iran, the joint military attack by United States and Israel on Iran. Now, one of the latest updates is that Ayatollah Ali Reza Arfi has been appointed as a member of the Iranian Leadership Council. Now, he is an extremely influential figure in both the religious and political spheres of Iran. This interim governing council consists of 3 members. The other members of the council include Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and Chief Justice Ghulam Hussein Mohseni Ajay. The mandate of the council is to exercise the powers and responsibilities of the supreme leader until a new one is officially elected. The governance structure will remain in effect until that selection is finalized. Meanwhile, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said that retaliation for the assassination of the supreme leader and other high-ranking officials is both their right and their duty. The president described these assassinations as a historic crime. The Iranian president further asserted that seeking justice against those who planned and executed these assassinations is an unavoidable duty of the Iranian government and the military. He pledged that Iran would utilize all its strength and power to carry out this retaliation. Iranian state television announced that Supreme Leader Ayatollah Al-Khamenei died following the Israel-American strikes. Now, in response, Iran's Revolutionary Guard says they attacked the American aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln in the Gulf after US and Israel strikes killed the country's supreme leader. Now, issuing a statement, the Revolutionary Guard said the US aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln was struck by 4 ballistic missiles. Now, of course, confirmation on these matters are still on their way. They're being processed, and we will continue to keep you up to date as and when the information is available to us. But before we get into more detail on this developing situation, let's take a look at how the initial attack on Iran began and what transpired thereafter.
According to foreign media reports, this is the largest largest attack ever launched against Iran. Foreign news outlets reported that the attack occurred yesterday morning at approximately 8:15 a.m. local time. Israel targeted several locations in Iran, including Karaj, Tehran, Qom, Isfahan and Kermanshah. The attack took place while Iran's supreme leader, the president, and a group of senior military officials were gathered for a secret discussion. Iranian state media reported that Ayatollah Khamenei, his daughter and his grandson were killed in this attack.
بعد از عمری مجاهدت حسینی و دائمی و خستگی ناپذیر روح بلند و ملکوتی کوه نستوه ولایت پدر مهربان امت رهبر و امام مسلمین حضرت آیت الله العظما سید علی حسینی خامنه‌ای در راه سربلندی حرم جمهوری اسلامی ایران شهد شهید گوارای شهادت را نوشیدند و به ملکوت اعلی پیوستند.
Who are the other high-ranking Iranian officials killed in this attack? Ali Shamkhani, defense advisor to Ayatollah al-Khamenei. General Abdul Rahim Mousavi, commander-in-chief of the Iranian Armed Forces. Aziz Nazirzadeh, the Minister of Defense. And Mohammad Papur, a top Iranian commander. What will happen to the governance of Iran after this? Ayatollah Ali Reza Arafi has been appointed as the interim supreme leader of Iran. He is a highly influential figure in both the religious and political spheres of the country. Arafi is a member of the Iranian Transitional Council that was formed following the assassination of Ayatollah al-Khamenei. This interim governing council is comprised of 3 members. The other members of the council include Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian and the chief of the judiciary, Gholam Hossein Mohseni Ejeh. The mandate of this council is to exercise the powers and responsibilities of the supreme leader until a new one is elected. What is the current situation in Iran? Foreign media reports that a 40-day period of mourning has been declared in memory of the assassinated Iranian supreme leader Ali Khamenei. This is how the people in several cities express their grief over the passing of their leader. Meanwhile, foreign media also reported that in various regions across Iran, people have held celebrations following the death of the Iranian supreme leader.
This assassination would make this confrontation more complicated and even more dangerous. It is absolutely unprecedented and a big violation of international law that a leader of another country is assassinated by foreign forces. So that would make this conflict or this war of aggression by Americans against us even more dangerous, more complicated, and would add perhaps new aspects to that. We have no problem with our countries in the other side of the Persian Gulf. We have friendly relations and good neighborly relations with all of them, and we are determined to continue these relations. What we are doing is, in fact, an act of self-defense and retaliation to the American aggression against us We are not attacking our brothers in the, in the Persian Gulf. We are not attacking our neighbors, but we are attacking American targets. And this is obvious. The Americans, the United States military is targeting us, is attacking us, and we have no way but to defend ourselves. And of course, we cannot hit any target in the territory of the United States, so we have to deal with their bases in the region and the facilities or installations they use in the countries of the region. So we started by attacking their military bases. They have evacuated the military bases, and they have gone to the hotels, and they have made human shields for themselves. This is not actually an act of war. So we are trying actually to target only military personnel and the facilities who are helping the United States military in their operation against Iran.
What is the current situation in Israel? The Prime Minister of Israel announced the death of the Iranian Supreme Leader.
שבוע טוב, אחיי ואחיותיי, אזרחי ישראל. הבוקר יצאנו, ישראל וארצות הברית, למבצע משולב להסרת האיום הקיומי על ישראל מצד משטר האייתולות.
Israel's attack yesterday. Israel confirmed that it dropped more than 1,200 bombs on Iran within a single day. Among the locations hit in Iran was a primary girls' school in Minab, a city in the Hormozgan province of southern Iran. It is reported that at least 148 people were killed there, with many others injured. The Israeli military maintains that the Air Force is operating to intercept and strike wherever necessary to eliminate the missile threats originating from Iran.
Well, as you can see, the devastation that has been caused is quite significant. We're still waiting for official numbers on the death toll and the casualties of both sides to come in, but much life has been lost. And in the wake of all of this violence, Pope Leo XIV has called for an end to the violence. The Pope expressed his deep concern regarding the attacks launched against Iran. In the same vein, Russian President Vladimir Putin conveyed his condolences following the assassination of Iranian Supreme Leader. North Korea has also condemned the US-Israeli strikes against Iran. North Korean state media reported that this was an illegal act of aggression and a violation of Iranian national sovereignty. Meanwhile, the foreign ministers of 6 Gulf nations are preparing to hold an emergency meeting today. The meeting will be conducted via video conferencing technology. They're expected to discuss the security of their respective nations and the next steps to be taken in light of the severe conflict between Iran and Israel. The objective of this discussion is to reach a common stance to prevent further attacks on these countries amid the state of war. The Gulf Cooperation Council also has condemned an Iranian attack on a fuel tanker in the waters near Oman. GCC Secretary General Jazim al-Budaiwa stated that the attack poses a significant threat to regional security. Foreign media reports indicate that the vessel targeted was sailing under the Paulun flag. The Maritime Security Council of Oman said that 4 people were injured in the incident. All 20 crew members on board the vessel have since been evacuated. Currently, a large number of Sri Lankans reside in these conflict-affected areas. Now let's take a look at what their current situation is like.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs says that Sri Lankans residing in conflict-affected areas of the Middle East are currently safe. Sri Lankan Ambassador to Israel, Nimal Bandara, clarified the situation regarding Sri Lankans living in Israel.
Our embassy remains open. We spent the entire day yesterday reviewing the current situation, assisting those in distress and looking after their welfare. No incidents involving Sri Lankans were reported to us. Additionally, there are disruptions to telephone communication lines. If a relative or a friend does not contact you for a day or two, please do not panic. If anyone traveling to Israel is currently stranded in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, please contact our embassy.
In light of the escalating situation in the Middle East, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has issued a set of guidelines for Sri Lankans in the region. Monitor reliable local media and official announcements of the host country. Avoid non-essential travel and large public gatherings. Remain in regular contact with the nearest Sri Lankan diplomatic mission. Keep mobile phones charged and carry valid identification documents at all times. To provide necessary assistance, all Sri Lankan diplomatic missions in the region have activated 24-hour emergency hotlines. This initiative is a joint effort between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the respective embassies. Sri Lankans in Bahrain, Iran, Israel, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, Oman, Palestine, Qatar, UAE, Iraq and Turkey can use these numbers to report information. For inquiries from families in Sri Lanka, the following 24-hour emergency numbers are active. Consular Affairs Division of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs 074 259 5546. Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment 071 980 2822 and Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment Hotline 1989. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs also advises the public to temporarily postpone planned travel to the Middle East region, flight status and cancellations. Due to the conflict, numerous flights from Sri Lanka have been cancelled. The Civil Aviation Authority says that all flights from Sri Lanka to the Middle East, from the Middle East to Sri Lanka and those transiting through the region are suspended until further notice. Flights to other destinations will operate as usual. Sri Lankan Airlines announced that all flights to the Middle East remain cancelled today. The airline stated that they are closely monitoring the situation to determine future steps. Meanwhile, a one-week visa grace period has been granted to individuals unable to return to their home countries due to the closure of airspace.
Now, following the initial attack on Iran, a counter-attack was launched on military bases in countries in the region, military bases of the United States that have been located in the countries in the region. Now, of course, you heard the Iranian foreign minister speaking about their response to this assassination of the supreme leader of Iran, and saying that they do not intend to attack neighboring countries, but they are only targeting the military installations. And missiles and rockets and drone attacks were launched on these military stations, and there was property damage and several casualties reported. This is the situation in surrounding countries in the Gulf region following the initial attack on Iran and Iran's counterattack.
In response to the series of attacks launched against Iran yesterday morning, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched drone and missile attacks targeting American military bases located across the Middle East. The countries most severely impacted by these strikes include the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Bahrain, Iraq and Jordan. During the Iranian strikes, a Pakistani national was killed when debris from a drone intercepted over Zaid International Airport in Abu Dhabi fell to the ground. The Abu Dhabi Airport Authority has officially confirmed that 7 other individuals were injured in the incident. Jordanian security forces reported 73 incidents of missile and drone fragments falling after being intercepted in mid-air. While no fatalities were reported, there has been significant property damage. Following the assassination of the Iranian supreme leader, a drone strike also targeted the port of Duqm in Oman, injuring 1 migrant worker. The Omani government, which often acts as a mediator in US-Iran negotiations, has condemned the attack, calling it a grave situation. The UAE Ministry of Defense stated that Iran launched 137 missiles and 209 drones at their country yesterday. The Abu Dhabi airport was among the targets, resulting in 1 death and 7 injuries. The Dubai International Airport, one of the busiest in the world, was also targeted, with 4 individuals reported injured. Al Jazeera reported seeing large plumes of smoke rising from Jebel Ali Port, a premier global commercial hub in Dubai, caused by falling debris from an intercepted missile or drone. Iran targeted Qatar with 66 missiles, and missile fragments fell on 114 locations across the country. According to the latest announcement from the Qatari Ministry of Interior, 16 people have been injured as a result of the Iranian attacks. Most of the victims were injured by falling missile debris. The Qatari Ministry of Interior stated that these attacks also caused limited property damage. The ministry further reported that after an Iranian missile was intercepted over the capital Doha, falling debris ignited a fire in the city's industrial area. However, no injuries were reported in that incident. Meanwhile, foreign media reported that a drone crashed near the Erbil International Airport in northern Iraq. In southern Iraq, 3 people were injured when debris from 2 missiles intercepted over Basra fell to the ground. Additionally, Iran launched a drone attack targeting Bahrain International Airport. While property damage was reported, there were no fatalities. Meanwhile, fires were reported in several high-rise buildings in Manama due to drone strikes and impacts from missile debris. Bahraini security forces announced that they have successfully intercepted 45 Iranian missiles and 9 drones so far.
Tensions remain high in Bahrain following a series of hostile attacks. Earlier today, a drone targeted Bahrain International Airport, causing some material damage. Authorities have confirmed that no casualties were reported, and steps are underway to secure the site and ensure safe airport operations. In the aftermath, 4 individuals received treatment at hospital. 3 were discharged after minor injuries, while 1 patient with moderate injuries remains under close medical observation. The Bahrain Defense Force has reported that its air defense system successfully intercepted 45 hostile missiles and 9 drones, including Shahed 136 types, launched during these attacks. Defense Force remain fully prepared and on high alert to protect the kingdom. Meanwhile, Bahrain Cybercrime Directorate has confirmed that legal action is underway against individuals promoting or endorsing hostile actions against the kingdom. On the international front, Bahrain's UN ambassador has called on the UN Security Council to condemn the attacks. The kingdom's stance has received full solidarity from GCC countries, Jordan and Syria. In response, the UN Security Council is holding an emergency session following retaliatory actions in the region. And also, Bahrain's parliament has strongly condemned the Iranian missile attacks, describing them as a violation of sovereignty and international law, as well as a direct threat to the safety of civilians and residents.
Fuel situation in Sri Lanka. Following reports of the Middle East crisis, long queues were seen at fuel stations across many parts of the island since last night. These queues persisted throughout the day today. Some people joined the queues without any clear reason. The Ceylon Petroleum Corporation continued fuel distribution today as well. The CPC stated that fuel distribution will continue tomorrow as well.
1.3 million litres of diesel and over 2 million litres of petrol had been distributed across the island by this evening. All the fuel queues that you saw on television and you would have seen on your way to and from work or any other place that you went to were in response to the tensions in the Middle East and the possible closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, putting all of those speculation, concerns surrounding the closure of the Strait of Hormuz to rest, Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, speaking to Al Jazeera, has emphasized that Iran has no intention of closing the Strait of Hormuz, clarifying that such an action does not reflect the country's official stance. Now, in any case, Sri Lanka purchases fuel via Singaporean companies through the Singaporean market, sometimes through India. These are refined fuels that we purchase from these markets. So when purchasing from the Singaporean market, for example, they have sufficient stocks that have been purchased prior and refined, and it is those stocks of fuel that we are purchasing. And therefore, there is no threat of a fuel shortage erupting suddenly the moment a war breaks out in the Middle East. Officials in Sri Lanka confirmed that there are adequate stocks of fuel in the country. Now, one thing is for certain. The prices of fuel may increase. You may remember even during the Gulf War, the price of fuel increased rapidly. However, subsequently, the price normalized once tension subsided. The rise in price, of course, could be attributed to the additional costs in taking longer routes to transport fuel and also the drop in transport of fuel due to issues surrounding closure of any of those sea routes. But there is no threat of a fuel shortage cropping up immediately. Under such circumstances, there is no point in you spending an entire night at a fuel station to get some fuel. Let's take a look at what officials had to say about the supply of fuel in Sri Lanka.
There is absolutely no reason to create a crisis. We have sufficient petrol stocks for 37 days, diesel for 35 days, and super diesel can last for 72 days. Aviation fuel is available for 47 days. We have no issue regarding our fuel stocks. There are regions from which our oil arrived last year. If you look at refined oil, the vast majority has come from India and Singapore. Only one shipment has come from Oman. Therefore, even if the Strait of Hormuz is closed, there will be no impact on those supplies. Regarding our current orders, all of these are sourced from India and Singapore. We have ordered and confirmed fuel stocks up until April and May. Therefore, there is no issue regarding the delivery of those stocks. Because of this, if people choose to stand in the sun and pump fuel, there is nothing we can do about it. We are providing a continuous fuel supply with the utmost responsibility. However, we have observed that racketeers and smugglers are attempting to collect fuel in cans. We have instructed all filling stations not to issue fuel into cans. We have informed the police and they are currently intervening. Legal action will be taken against anyone engaged in unnecessary hoarding. My responsible advice is to act normally without creating unnecessary fear.
The Ministry of Energy also guaranteed that there will be no disruption to the fuel supply. Ministry Secretary Udang Hemapala stated that the public should not entertain any undue fears regarding this matter.
Well, thank you, Charlene, for bringing us that comprehensive update. Moving on to other local stories. Well, we have waited years for our country's cricket to improve. Fans have now reached the absolute limit of their patience. The only hope for the 22 million people of Sri Lanka is that the relevant authorities will take the necessary steps and take them very quickly.
Yesterday, we showed you how factions that once competed against each other have now united into a single group just to hold on to power. As of this moment, the current president of Sri Lanka Cricket, Shammi Silva, has held his position for nearly 8 years. What has happened to Sri Lankan cricket during this period? If we look at the T20 format as a recent example, since 2019, 5 different captains have been experimented with. Various trials were conducted on the T20 stage. Since 2019, out of 122 T20 matches played, only 47 have been won. There were 7 instances when the entire team was bowled out for under 100 runs. Today, we are ranked 8th in T20s, a fall orchestrated by a system that once produced the 2014 world champions. In 2019 and 2020, we suffered the agony of 3-0 whitewashes against Pakistan and Australia. Similarly, in 2020 and 2021, Sri Lanka had to settle for the same dismal scorelines against the West Indies in the ODI format. Now, throughout these 8 years, there have been nearly 29 series where Sri Lanka was left utterly helpless, unable to win a single match across all 3 formats. In this year's T20 World Cup, the Sri Lankan team had to return home after losing every single match in the Super 8s round. Looking at history, this is the first time Sri Lanka has failed to reach a semi-final while hosting a segment of a World Cup. Since 2014, the Sri Lankan team has failed to qualify for the semi-finals in any ICC-organised tournament. And a few years ago, the former chairman of the National Selection Committee made a revelation regarding these defeats.
මොකුත් කතා කරන්නේ නැහැ. මට දවස් දෙකක් දෙන්න මම සියලු දේම හෙලි කරන්නම්. මොකක්ද උනේ? ඇයි කනගාටුයි. පරාජයටපත් වුණා. හොඳට කරේ නැහැ. ඒකට හේතුව කඩාවැටීම කොතෙන්ද උනේ කියන එක දවස් දෙකක් දෙන්න මම ඒක ඔක්කොම කතා කරන්නම්. ඕන මාධ්‍යයකට මම කතා කරන්නම්. හැබැයි ඒ දවස් දෙක දුත ඔබතුමාලා බුද්ධියත්ම හිතන්න මොකද්ද මේකට හේතුව කියන එක.
මේ තරම් කළා තරම් හතම්ම පරාද වුණා.
මම මක්කිය බාර ගන්නවා. මම පැනලා යන්නේ මම මේකේ සියලුම දේවල් මම කතා කරනවා මේවා කුමාන්තන තිබ්බද මේවා කවුද වැට්ටුවේ කවුද මේවා කඩාකප්පල් ගන්න හැදුවේ මම මේවා සේරම මම මේ තමන් ඉදිරියේදී මම ඉල් කරන්න තරංගාවලිය නෙවෙයි මේක මේ එක එක්තරා මේ කණ්ඩායමක කුමාන්තනයක් තිබ්බා ඒක තමයි සිදුවන්නේ මම ඒක කරන්න මට පොඩ්ඩක් දෙන්න මේ දවස් ටික මම
Pramod Vikramasinghe did not stay in his position long after that statement. A new chairman was appointed. The internal details of that conspiracy never came to light. This is the current state of competence within our cricket administration. Cricket must be independent. For too long, people have been intimidated by the threat that political interference will lead to an ICC ban. But what is the public saying now? Following yesterday's defeat, here is the public's reaction.
බෝඩ් එක නම් ඉන්නේ උන් තේරම අයින් වෙන්න ඕනේ. මුන්ගේ වැරදි නිසා තමයි ඔක්කොම වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. ක්‍රිකට් පරිපාලනය කියන්නේ උන්ගේ හිටන මහා මුන්ගේ තේරම උන්දේක අයින් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ජයන්තලා කියන මේකෙක්වත් මේ පරිපාලනය ගැන හදන්නේ නැහැ.
වෙනස් වෙයි යුතුයි කියන මතය ඉන්නවා.
මේ පාලනය තමයි සූදු කෙලිනවනේ. ඒ සූදු පිටියක් කියලා තියෙන්නේ මේක. අනිවාර්යෙන් පරිපාලනය වෙනස් කරන්නම ඕනි. නැතුව ක්‍රිකට් එක හදන්න බෑ. නිකන් මේ මැච් එකක් ගහුවා ළඟට ආවා කියලා චූන් වෙලා වැඩක් නැහැ. ඔය චමින්ද වස් කිව්වා වගේ මාවනත පොත් කිව්වා වගේ අන්තිම මැච් එක විතරක් කොහොම කරලා ආය ආදල්ලක් දෙනවා අපිට.
Sri Lanka cricket is our brand. It carries our country's name to the world. Should we allow it to be destroyed for the interests of a single click? To rescue cricket from this group, the path is clear. Look at the draft cricket constitution prepared based on the recommendations of the retired Justice K.T. Chitrasiri Committee. It contains the blueprint for rebuilding the administration and reviving cricket, replacing the cronyism and club vote power grabs with actual merit. That draft has reached the cabinet level. If changes are needed, make them and implement it. The ICC is not an organization that overrides a country's sovereign power. If the people of the country unanimously demand change, the responsible parties must pay attention. If these changes don't happen, the final match that kills the sport we all love is not far away.
News First with the people.
Former Army Commander Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca visited the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic in Kandy today.
Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, who paid homage at the Temple of the Tooth Relic in Kandy, later met the Chief Prelate of the Malwatu chapter, Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Mahanayaka Thera.
අපි ආණ්ඩුවට විරුද්ධ නැහැ අපි විපක්ෂයෙන් කට්ටියට විරුද්ධයි. ආණ්ඩුවේ අඩුපාඩු තිබුණත් අඩු ගන්න හොරකම් කරන්නේ නැහැ මහානායක. හොරකමට දායක වෙන්නේ නැති හින්දා අපේ ආශිර්වාදයක් තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලෝ.
Later, former Army Commander Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca shared his views on former State Intelligence Service Director Chief Suresh Saleh, who was arrested in connection with the Easter Sunday terror attack investigations.
Now we know how Saleh operated, who influenced him and in which areas he worked. When I was Army Commander after the war ended, I assigned him an important intelligence position, but he did not report directly to me. At that time, retired General Henda Vitarana under Gotabaya supervised him. We had our own intelligence units handling special operations, including the Tamil Selvam assassination, as well as other security challenges in Colombo. I believe a team working under Gotabaya was responsible for some of these actions. Saleh and Henda Vitarana were part of this. Gotabaya overseeing all intelligence operations in Colombo and forming these groups. Additionally, post-war intelligence arrangements in the East, including recruiting and managing personnel like Zaharan, were initiated after the war, with Zaharan handling some tasks and Saleh overseeing army intelligence operations. A few other army officers were also involved, as I have previously mentioned in Parliament. There has never been a system in this country to arrest fathers simply because their sons become terrorists. There is no such system anywhere in the world. After Prabhakaran was killed, we allowed his parents to come out and live in Velvathurai. There is no such practice. If Ibrahim, as an ordinary citizen, has committed an offence, he must face the consequences. If a war hero has committed a crime, assisted terrorism or engaged in any unlawful activity, the law does not change because of his background or even because he has served the country. There is no system that alters the law on that basis.
පසුබිම හන්දා හරි රටට සේවයක් කරා කියලා හරි එහෙම නීති වෙනස් වෙන ක්‍රමයක් නැහැ. ඔබතුමාට ඇඟෙන විදිහට ඔබතුමාට ඍජුවම කියනවා මේක මහා මොලකරු විදිහට දැසන්නේ කවුද හිටියේ කවුද? සැලේලා වැඩ කරේ කාටද කියලා මම දන්නවනේ.
I know who Saleh worked for. In my view, those who were close to Gotabaya Rajapaksa and those within his inner circle spoke in support of Saleh. I saw different groups doing this, possibly even some academics working overseas. All of them should be looked at with suspicion and properly investigated. If we dig deeper, the real truth will come to light.
Chief Justice Preeti Padman Surasena visited the courts in Jaffna today.
Chief Justice Preeti Padman Surasena visited the Mallagam Court complex in Jaffna today.
No resolution of that dispute, and there will be anarchy, there will be a lawlessness, and there won't be any confidence in the people of this country, in the judicial system of this country. So, having that in mind, we thought the digitalization of court system will help resolve all the issues, if not many. So we have opened the case management system and also e-filing in the Supreme Court. And in the next 2 weeks, we are going to open the same facility, the case management system and the e-filing system in the Court Market and the Commercial High Court. Once it is introduced to the Commercial High Court, it will soon spread to the other High Courts. And there will be a different module, a separate software to the High Courts, separate software to the Civil Appeal High Courts, separate software to the Criminal High Courts, separate software to the District Courts, separate software to the Magistrate Court. All those there, I said about 5 clusters in addition to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court, which are different. So when you find this is the district These are district court.
Moving on to sports news now, the 95th Battle of the Maroons, the annual cricket encounter between Ananda College and Nalanda College, Colombo, concluded today in a draw.
The 95th Battle of the Maroons annual cricket encounter between Ananda College and Nalanda College, Colombo, ended in a draw today at the SSC grounds in Colombo. Batting first, Ananda College, Colombo declared their first innings at 353 runs for the loss of 8 wickets. Nethuledri Manna scored a magnificent 165 runs. In reply, the Nalanda College team declared their first innings after scoring 424 runs for 8 wickets. Nemiduak Mimana amassed 142 runs, while Mihin Soisa contributed 119 runs. In their second innings, Ananda College declared at 170 runs for 6 wickets. Danidusella Peruma top scored with 96 runs. Accordingly, chasing a target of 100 runs, the Nalanda College team had reached 8 runs without loss by the time the match concluded. The best batsman of the match was Nemiduak Mimana of Nalanda College. The award for best bowler was won by Osanda Pamudita of Nalanda College. The best fielder was given to Mana Peri of Nalanda College. The man of the match award was won by Nethuledri Manna of Ananda College. The MTV-MBC Media Network provided the official electronic media partnership for the 95th Battle of the Maroons.
And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Good night.